Hello mga ka-learners! So this time around, we will be focusing on research conceptual framework. Are you ready? Let's start. So syempre, bago natin uumpisahan ang discussion natin today about conceptual framework, I will be promoting first our YouTube channel, Teacher Ako. So sa mga bago pa dyan na hindi pa nakasubscribe, click naman the subscribe button and the notification bell para updated kayo sa mga latest uploads natin regarding research and language skills. So what is a research conceptual framework? So here is the definition. A conceptual framework in research is a visual or written model that explains the main concepts, variables, and the presumed relationships between them in a study. So this conceptual framework, mga ka-learners, it serves as a map or guide for all of us researchers that helps both the researcher and the readers understand how the research problem will be explored. So as we move along sa discussion natin today, magkakaroon tayo ng certain example para makita ninyo kung paano talaga nag-work at ginagawa ang conceptual framework. So ngayon naman, ang focus natin will be on the key features of a conceptual framework. So meron tayong apat mga ka-learners na dapat tandaan. Okay? So let's start with number 1. Conceptual framework defines the key variables or concepts in your study. So kung natatandaan nyo in our previous discussion, we have discussed the different kinds of variables. So syempre, conceptual framework clearly identifies the most important elements or variables that your study will focus on. So kung meron ba tayong independent variable, meron ba tayong dependent variable, at syempre, yung mga other variables na pwedeng makaapekto sa ating study. So lahat yun dapat present sa ating conceptual framework. Okay? So for example, sa ating independent variable, ang focus natin will be study habits. Siyempre, alam naman natin kapag sinabing independent variable, ito yung factor that the researcher manipulates or consider as the cause of the study. For example, study habits. Okay? Next, dependent variable, yung example naman natin will be academic performance. This will be the possible outcome or effect you are trying to measure. At kung natatandaan nyo, diniscuss na natin ito sa ating nakalipas na video tutorial regarding the kinds of variables. So sa mga bago pa lang sa ating channel at hindi alam yung mga different kinds of variables na minimension kong ito, pwede nyong balikan ito at tignan sa ating tutorials. Also, we also have our other variables. For example, our extraneous variables, our control variables. Ayan, pwedeng sa sample na binanggit ko kanina, kung ang ating independent ay study habits, ang ating dependent ay academic performance, pwede nating gawin extraneous variables ay yung motivation o kaya yung learning environment. Ayan. So, what is now the purpose of this key variable? Siyempre, it sets the scope of your research by focusing only on what matters most in your study. So kung ano lang talaga yung pinaka-focus ng study natin, ito yung mga key variables na ide-determine natin at ilalagay dapat sa ating conceptual framework. Pangalawa na key feature will be, it illustrates the relationships among variables. Yan, yung cause and effect. So the conceptual framework shows how the variables are connected or influence one another. You might use arrows to show direction for cause and effect. Later, makikita nyo sa example na ibibigay ko. Yung mga arrows na to ay importante para makita natin yung relationship or kung paano naging connected ang bawat isa. It may explain direct effects, for example, study habits, or indirect effects to motivation, to academic performance, and so on, kung yun yung pinaka-example natin. Kaya huwag kayong mag-alala, mamaya tingnan nyo yung example na ibibigay ko. So ano yung purpose naman nito? Yung key feature number 2, it helps us, researchers, to understand better the flow of our study. So yung logic or reasoning behind your hypothesis or research questions, makikita natin dito sa ating conceptual framework. Pangatlong key feature naman, guides the research design, data collection, and analysis. So the framework isn't just for display, hindi lang ito for para lang display or para lang may illustration tayo makita sa study. It will give us the entire process of our research. It helps us decide what type of study you will conduct. Kung survey ba to or experimental in nature. Also, for data collection purposes, this one tells us what data to gather. Example, how to measure study habits and academic performance. Also, it helps us determine what relationships to test. Kung correlation, based on sa conceptual framework pa lang, sa mga arrows pa lang na gagamitin natin, makikita na natin kung correlation ba ang ating magiging study, ito ba yung ating analysis na gagamitin, and marami pang iba. Siyempre, yung purpose ng research, ng conceptual framework research design natin ay it ensures your methods and tools are aligned with your objectives and variables. Kung talagang connected ang ating mga analysis or statistical tools na gagamitin sa ating study. So makikita din yan sa ating conceptual framework. And lastly, na key feature will be often presented as a diagram or flowchart. Ayan. It's a visual representation, mga ka-learners, of conceptual framework typically required in research papers. Ito yung usually na diagram na makikita natin sa ating research. Usually consists of boxes. Ayan. Usually may mga boxes tayo. Arrows, ayan. Sa boxes, makikita natin yung mga variables or concepts. Tapos yung mga arrows naman natin ay yung the direction and type of relationship, yung cause and effect. So, ano yung purpose ng diagram na to? It simplifies complex ideas, making it easier for readers to quickly understand your research structure. Ayan, at least magkakaroon na ng idea ang ating mga readers kung papaano na kinonduct ng researcher ang kanyang study. Okay? Let's focus on this example. So if you are studying the effect of study habits on academic performance, your conceptual framework might include the following. Ito yung mga possible things na pwede natin i-include kung ito yung ating sample study. So we have our independent variable, study habits. That includes time spent and study techniques. For our dependent variable, our academic performance, for example, that focus on grades and test scores. And our mediating or extraneous variables will be motivation and learning environment. So the title suggests a cause and effect relationship. Kung titignan niyo yung the effect of study habits on academic performance, where one factor, study habits, is believed to influence another. So yung study habits, ini-influence niya yung ating academic performance. Okay, ulitin ko lang, ating independent variable dito ay yung ating study habits. It is what the researcher manipulates, observes, or focuses on as the main cause or influencing factor of the study. In this study, study habits may include time spent and studying, like what I have said. How many hours per day or per week for studying? And then for study techniques, ano ba yung mga techniques na ginagamit niya kapag nag-aaral? Summarizing, self-testing, note-taking, and so forth. Study schedules, kasado din yan. Fixed versus last-minute cramming. Siyempre, kung meron ba fixed schedule na fina-follow yung bata or last-minute cramming lang yung ginagamit niya pag nagre-review. And then study environment. Quiet ba, structured, or with distractions yung environment niya while studying. So why it matters? Bakit importante ito? So you're trying to see if differences in how students study lead to differences in their academic performance. Gusto mo makita yung mga differences on those areas that you have mentioned or we have mentioned in our study. The second one, we have our dependent variable. As I've said a while back, it is the academic performance. So the dependent variable is the outcome, like what I've said before, or the effect that you want to measure. It depends on the independent variable. So in this case, academic performance might be measured by grades in quizzes, assignments, or final exams. GPA or subject-specific average. And then also pwede din siya sa standardized test scores. For example, yung mga standardized examinations and then yung results doon. So, why it matters? Bakit importante yung mga yon? So, you want to determine whether better study habits actually result in improved performance. Okay, lagi natin tatandaan yan. Next, yung pangatlo naman will be the possible mediating or extraneous variable. Ito yung mga pwedeng sabihin natin yung motivation o kaya yung learning environment. So these two variables explain how or why the independent variable influences the dependent variable. They sit in the middle of the cause and effect chain. Nasa gitna siya. So the motivation, the mediator, students with good study habits may become more motivated. Totoo yun. It may increase motivation, might lead to better academic outcomes. Syempre. And for the pathway example, syempre study habits and then arrow to motivation, then going to academic performance. So makikita natin yan later, yung possible conceptual framework natin. Okay? Another one for our extraneous variable or mediator will be the learning environment. A quiet or well-lighted study area can enhance the effectiveness of study habits. Siyempre kapag conducive yung ating learning environment. A noisy or crowded environment may weaken the effect of study habits. Siyempre if you are distracted, yung mga possible things na we have to consider. It can also be a mediating variable if it helps explain how study habits work. So an extraneous variable if it's unintentionally affect academic performance regardless of study habits. So why consider mediating or extraneous variables? So both help us to avoid misleading results. Yan. So syempre, diniscuss naman natin ito before. So we have to consider the extraneous variables, syempre, for us to be guided on what to do next or what not to consider in our study. Kasi fino-focus lang tayo dito kung ano talaga yung main goal natin sa study natin ginagawa. So heto ngayon yung ating example na conceptual framework na pwede natin ilagay sa ating thesis. So kung yung ating consideration ay yung nabanggit kong example a while back. So tingnan nyo, meron tayong study habits dito, motivation, learning environment, and academic performance. Ito yung mga possible arrows na pwede nating gamitin na nakadirect sa ating academic performance. So tingnan nyo yung flow mga ka-learners. So meron tayo dito makikitang independent variable. So, di ba yung consideration natin if we are studying the effect of study habits on academic performance, ito yung possible na conceptual framework natin. It may include our independent variable, which is our study habits. Ito yung unang box sa ating kaliwa ngayon. Also, we have our dependent variable na nasa kanan nyo naman ngayon, yung academic performance natin. At ang ating mga possible mediating or extraneous variables will be the learning environment and motivation. Ito yung possible na conceptual framework natin mga ka-learners. Ayan, at least ngayon meron na kayong idea kung paano ginagawa ang ating conceptual framework. So this time around mga ka-learners, tatandaan lang natin lagi kung para saan ba ang ating conceptual framework. So meron lang tayong tatlo na tatandaan. Una, conceptual framework helps clarify your research focus. Pangalawa, it shows how your research fits within existing theories. At ang pangatlo, helps formulate hypotheses and research questions. So ito yung tatlo na dapat lagi nating tinatandaan kapag gumagawa rin tayo ng ating conceptual framework. So the conceptual framework is the foundation of your research. So ito na yung summary ng ating discussion for today's video tutorial. So it provides a structured way to organize your ideas and connect theory with practice. It ensures that your study has a clear direction and logical flow. So yung conceptual framework natin, mga ka-learners, ito yung parang nagsiserve as our foundation sa research natin or sa research nyo na gagawin in the future. It helps you organize your ideas in a way or in a structured way para hindi magulo at para maging klaro yung flow ng ating study or ng study mo. Through this, nako-connect ka sa mga existing theories habang ginagamit mo sila sa actual na research practice mo or sa actual study mo. It ensures na may malinaw ang direksyon at may logical flow ang buong study mo mula sa simula hanggang sa conclusion ng study mo. Ayan, yun yung pinaka dapat nating tatandaan kapag gumagawa na tayo ng ating conceptual framework. At ayan mga ka-learners, natapos na naman ang ating tutorial ngayon. So sana may natutunan kayo sa discussion natin. At sa mga hindi pa nakasubscribe sa ating YouTube channel, click naman yung subscribe button at saka yung notification bell para updated kayo sa mga bago nating tutorials na uploads sa ating channel. Ayan, so pwede nyo rin itong i-share sa iba para naman at least mas dumami pa yung mga followers natin sa ating channel. Thank you very much, mga ka-learners. God bless you. Bye!